Hi, I'm Dawn.
I'm Ashley.
And this is Mel.
Welcome to the Work It, You Are Worth It podcast.
We are here to discuss awareness, growth, and healthy relationships.
Are you ready?
Good morning, Mel. Good morning, Ashley. How are you guys?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Good morning. I'm also wonderful. How are you, Dawn?
I am doing well this morning, kind of slow in getting started, but I love a morning like that, especially a Sunday morning. Just that lazy, you kind of just roll out of bed and just do a few things and sit and, enjoy your coffee instead of mindlessly drinking it while you're trying to do 50 things at work. Just
Yes.
like,
I love a good intentional morning coffee. It's
mhm.
just really, really sets the tone for the day.
God, it does. It hits different for sure.
Mhm.
I wish I could relate.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yes,
don't
that's
drink
right. She
coffee,
doesn't.
but I love a good quiet morning. Like
Me
my
too.
Sunday mornings are normally, I wake up at like 7 and I just wander around, maybe have some breakfast, maybe do some laundry, maybe sit outside. And then, like this morning, I actually slept. I slept in like for the first time in a really long time. I slept till like almost 9 a.m. It was,
Which is
That's great for you.
amazing.
yeah, it's also that's the other nice thing to do. I haven't experienced that in a while to just sleep.
Yeah. One of the things I guess I didn't was going to tell you like about this past week was yesterday. Yesterday was a funny day for me because I went and saw Little Big Town on Friday night. Um, and so I didn't get home. By the time I got to bed, it was, pretty late. And so I slept and I got up and did Bo's insulin. And then I was like, told Colin, I'm like, I got to go back to bed. I'm so tired. So I went back to bed. I slept till 11:30, which I completely
Nice.
needed. And then I got up and got a cup of coffee. I went back into my bed, put the covers back on. I'm sitting there, right? I can sit, my bed's adjustable so I can sit up. I sat in bed until 4:30.
Hell yeah, that's nice.
I was just having a coffee. I have a new author I'm listening to. It's actually not it's the first time in a long time that I'm not like listening or reading to some self-help thing. Um,
I am also listening to a new book and it is not self-help. And it is
isn't it
probably
great?
it's probably the first time in like 3 years that I've
Yes.
listened to an audiobook that is just take me into a fantasy world and let me enjoy it.
Yes. I'm like, it's just, I did that before, like before growth and recovery and awareness and all of that. Right. But it was my way to escape what I was in.
Yes, very much so for me also.
And then when, you get into recovery, then it was all of a sudden I was just like this, it's like my addiction became recovery, right?
Yep, very
So I was
much.
like, let me read everything I can get. And then over the last, I don't know, probably year, I've got all these books I haven't read, but I just am not like, I don't know, I'm not drawn to them right now, some from a self-help place. So I started listening to audiobooks at work, and then now I'm just obsessed. I found this author. I just actually freaking love her. I think you would like her, Ashley,
Who is
actually.
it?
Frida McFadden.
Okay, I have not heard of her. I will have to
She
look into it.
is a suspense, twisty, turny writer.
Okay, okay.
So it's
I'm
like, yeah, it's very
very much so fantasy. Like I am very,
okay.
very much into fantasy. When I say it takes me into a fantasy world, I'm one of those people that when I read, I don't have to process what I'm
Right.
reading. It's like watching a movie as I read the book.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
the movie is so in detail because, right, it jumps into what they're thinking and what their
Hmm.
thoughts are and where they're feeling. Whereas movies just kind of show you those things.
Right. And they don't give you the person internally is
Yes.
feeling that they're thinking. Yeah.
Yes. So I very much and I will definitely look into her, but I'm very much a fantasy, very much it takes me into a fantasy world.
Yeah. I love like the book part. I'd like right again, love to watch a movie, right? But for me, I don't get into the deepness feelings of it. I don't know. Anyways. So yes, so that's what I've my new big thing is actually getting outside of self-help books and reading something different finally, or which is
We got to take some time away from growth as well, right?
yeah, oh,
Sometimes we
100%.
just got to relax.
Yep. Yep. We just kind of going back to our first episode when we kind of like the new direction. And I think for me, that's really where I was. I was still trying to force all of this recovery stuff. And that's what I felt like it really was at that point. When you and I had that conversation, I was like, I was forcing myself to go to the meeting. I was forcing myself to
Right.
do the podcast. I was forcing myself to do like to do my sponsor calls, right? Because I found I didn't want to, but I had to do it. Like these are my obligations. And now I feel like since just being able to have that conversation with you made it now it's like, okay, it's okay that I feel this way. I can step back and I don't need to control it as much as I was. I can
Yeah.
just let it be what it is. And it's a nice feeling. It's a nice to have that different perspective on it. It's made it more interesting. Um, yeah.
When the growth is because I'm ready and I can handle it right now and I want to, rather than I have to.
Right. Like my
Yes.
life depends on it.
Yep.
Now it doesn't depend on it.
Very much so.
So that would kind of take us into this whole thing about what we were talking about last week and higher power. And that is trusting my higher power to know I need to be all in. I don't need to be all in. Right now I'm good. I can trust where I've gotten and he's got me if and when I need to make recovering my focus again, like all my focus. Um, so anyways, last week we talked about what is a higher power, and I'm gonna just reread the two. Um, Merriam-Webster it says a spirit or being such as God that has great power, strength, knowledge, etc., and that can affect nature and the lives of people. And then dictionary.com is a deity or another powerful but unknowable force conceptualized variously as the supreme being, nature, the universe, invisible energy, etc., to which appeals or prayers may be directed, or in the context of which explanations of life and circumstances may be imagined.
You
So,
know,
oh, go ahead.
I love the definitions of what a higher power is. And I found that for me, it was more important than what my higher power is. Because like I said last week when we were doing this, right? I still don't know exactly what my higher power is. But for me, who my higher power is mattered so much more than what. Like, what are the characteristics of my higher power? Who is my higher power?
Yeah. So, tell us, what are your characteristics of your higher power now versus before?
So before, kind of, we went into that last week. So I'll just real quick. Before, my higher power was judgmental, condemning. It was in my head as a child. It was the Catholic version of God. And in my head, that version of God was judgmental, condemning, um, aggressive, assertive, very, very almost angry. And now, who my higher power is my higher power is a male energy, not necessarily a man because my higher power is not human, obviously. But it's a masculine energy that is loving, unconditionally loving. That is the number one most important characteristic of my higher power is that he loves unconditionally each and every single person alive. Um, I mean, if he didn't love every person alive, then he wouldn't be my higher power, right? Because one of the biggest things for me is being loving. Second characteristic I would say is that he is not at all judgmental. He is accepting, unconditionally loving, accepting and accepts me no matter what. And end of sentence. right? Period. It accepts me at all times, no matter what I've done, no matter who I am, no matter how I feel, no matter anything. My higher power accepts me. There's not anything in this world that I can do that would cause my higher power to cast me out and be done with me. And then I would say the third and I would say probably last of the top most important, right? He's unconditionally loving, he's unconditionally accepting, and he never ever 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 goes away. Right? There's just like it doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't matter how many years I ignore him for or refuse to communicate with it or any it doesn't matter. When I am ready, when I turn around to allow my higher power back into my life, there it is. It never leaves, no matter what I do. I would say for me, those are the top three characteristics.
Okay. All right. Mel, what do you got? What do you think? What for you?
My higher power is an energy. Again, very similar to Ashley's, non-judgmental. There's no like humanness really to the higher power. It just is. It controls everything in the world from the wind that blows to hurricanes to sunny days to it just is. It just surrounds me at all times. And it is always with me. It never leaves me. And I leave it. That's that's usually what happens. And it's all just all encompassing love. That's all this energy is. It's just love.
What about you, Don?
Well, okay, so for me, I agree with you, Ashley. For me, it's a very much a male energy. It's male energy. That's what it feels like to me. It's a very much male energy. I don't know why, but that's what it feels like, and so that's what it is. It doesn't have a face. It's not a person. It's a feeling. And here's why for me those things are so important is because if I look back at my old way of thinking around a higher power, like you both noted, right? Very judgmental, right? Number one, judgmental was I always that's just one of the things I always struggled with a higher power or God was this judgmental concept of if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen, right? Every situation has consequences, but I do not believe this amazing, wonderful higher thing that assisted in creating everything that's out there that as beautiful it is can is it's this or this, this or this, and unforgiving and judgmental. It just can't be. That's why I really that's what were the biggest one for me that I've worked through, and it just very logically doesn't make sense to me now looking back, and it never did. Um, Unforgiving. My higher power is or sorry, not unforgiving, is forgiving. Is very forgiving. Meaning I'm human. I make mistakes. I have free will. I have free choices. I That doesn't mean I do it on my own. It means that I very much in tandem with him have a conversation, look at a situation, and make the best decision with the information that my higher power has provided me and what I know. And so if I make a decision that maybe wouldn't have been, could have been a different decision, it's unforgiving. He's unforgiving because, right, I did the things that I needed to do. So,
So I think I hear you saying there's no need for him to forgive you because everything that you're doing with your higher power. And therefore, even if it's not the best thing or the quote unquote right thing, you and your higher power came to this decision together. So there's no reason for forgiveness.
exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And then the last thing I think for me is my higher power is, like I said, is not a, it's not a human. It's not man.
It's not of this world.
It's not of this world. It is so, I actually, you guys can't see me, but I have my eyes closed here because I'm like feeling it and putting it all together. Like, yeah. Um,
And that's another thing for me that's super important, right? My higher power is not of this world. So
mhm,
the things that my society in central North Carolina believes is this is important and this is important. This isn't right. I live in the quote unquote Bible Belt. Um, One of the things that is super important here is attending a church,
mhm,
right? One of the first questions people ask you when you meet someone new is, what church do you attend? I don't attend church. My higher power does not need me to attend church. Um, it's not of this world. The things that this culture, this world in the earth think are important, those are minuscule things for my higher power. My higher power can, it is of the universe, it is of all time and all being, now, future, past, everything. And I can't define it, right? I can't,
mhm.
there's no, and that's what I was saying at the beginning for me, right? What my higher power is not, it's not important because I couldn't tell you. Is it an energy? Is it a being? Is it a spirit? Is it a soul? Is it a consciousness? I don't know. I
I
know that it never goes away.
I feel like a higher power is just such a personal,
Mhm.
Yes.
it's different for everybody.
And that's actually where I was headed. That was what I was
Yeah.
gonna say was that, right? It can't be if well, my higher power cannot be a being because higher power is yours. It's Ashley's. It's so how does a being be that for everyone? It can't. So it has to
Right.
be something so powerful and so
Omnipotent.
yes.
Yes.
It's the word, omnipotent.
And
Yeah.
right, I've said this, my higher power is exactly what I need for me, right? I need a sarcastic higher power. I need a higher power with a
And
fucked
yet,
up sense of humor. It's what I like. That's he knows me. My power knows me well enough to give me exactly what I need.
and would you agree that, like, to say that my higher power gives me exactly what I need and knows me that well, and yet my higher power also knows each one of you guys and
Yes.
gives each one of you guys exactly what you need,
Yep.
even if he's giving you something you need that I think you don't need, it's still coming from a higher power. And I need to just leave that, right? Like,
Right.
so I don't know if I'm explaining that well. Like, it's my higher power, and my higher power may look in my head this way. And maybe Dawn's higher power and Mel's higher power look very different in their mind. And yet, and they may have very different characteristics, right? Like
Mhm.
Dawn, you were saying yours is kind of a smart ass and likes to make jokes. Mine isn't really a smart ass. Mine will just get louder and louder and louder and louder until I decide to listen. But at the same time, what your higher power thinks is best for you is the exact same thing that my higher power thinks is best for you because we have the same higher power, even though they're very, very different to each of us.
Right. And you
I
said, oh, go ahead, Mel.
also was going to say that our higher power, when we turn to our higher power, when we seek it out, it will, I believe it will come into the situation or whatever we're in that moment and be exactly what we need.
Yes, I
So
agree with
if
that.
we need a wise guidance, we'll get wise guidance. If we need,
Smart ass, we'll get smart ass.
yeah,
Yeah.
if we need patient and gentle, we'll get patient and gentle. I and I feel that it comes from what as myself, what I need in that moment, what my soul is desiring, I will ask my higher power to give that to me, and it will.
Hmm.
So, but sometimes not on command. Sometimes it's through various other means. Like sometimes it's through the lesson I learned in something. Sometimes it's in a butterfly that lands on my knee when I'm in asking a question or I'm seeking. It's symbolism. It's a smile from somebody when they walk past me and they say, "Oh, you dropped this," and it was $100 bill. You know?
Sometimes it's in the
Yeah.
lesson that I refuse to listen to that gets louder and louder
And
and
louder and
louder
louder. Yeah.
until I'm able to hear it, right? Like that man's not good enough for you. Oh, blah, blah. I think he is. We'll do this. We'll do this. No, let me show you another reason that man's not good. No, no, we're gonna do this. Okay, I'm gonna get louder. And that man, and it's just like that's part of, and I hear you saying this too, Mel, and what you're saying. He's never gonna leave. My higher power will always be there. He will just speak to me in whatever way I need to hear.
Hmm.
That's a huge characteristic of a higher power for me, of my higher
Yeah.
power for me.
For me,
Um,
how he does it is usually through the work that I'm doing, that we're doing. Not even the three of us, but just the work that I'm doing, right? I can sit here on a podcast today with you guys and there's a topic something we pick up or some like how would this is what we're going to talk about, then something we go down this other little path, and then all of a sudden that'll show up in my Tuesday night phone call with someone, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden bam, there it is in Thursday night, bam, there it is Saturday. It might be in different orders, right? It could be, oh, yesterday's call triggered something for today, but somewhere in that is you'll I can hear and see and feel the common thing, like the common denominator that my higher power wants me to hear.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
and
I
I think
feel, yeah, but there must be a consciousness around this, right? Though,
Yes.
because I mean, I
well, it has to
can
be,
tell
yeah.
you how unconsciously I have lived and done the same lesson over and over and over again. It's um, when I became more conscious of what I was doing and looking and seeing the pattern of my life. And that's when HP said, "Oh, you see it now. Okay, we can stop doing this and move on to something else that you have to learn or gain knowledge in about yourself."
Yeah, for me, like he definitely exactly like you're saying too, Mel. And I had to learn to hear him, right?
Hmm.
Because I couldn't hear for the longest time. I thought my higher power was this thing outside of me that I needed to speak to, I needed to pray to, and then I needed to meditate to listen. And I should just hear this almighty, powerful masculine voice come down and say, "You go left." And I should know to turn left. And I used to like, I think I mentioned last week, right? Growing up in Catholic school, there was a very specific way to pray. And I used to actually believe that if you didn't kneel with your head down and your hands together, all pointed, in the prayer place with your elbows out, if you didn't do it exactly that way, then he wouldn't listen. I used to believe that. And what I've learned over the last 5, 6 years for me is that my higher power doesn't speak to me that way. I can talk to my higher power however I want. First of all, there's no specific way to do it. And my tone doesn't matter. My thoughts don't matter. He can hear it all. My higher power is inside of me. My higher power speaks to me through me, right? Like, yes, he speaks to me like exactly like you were saying, Dawn. Like I'll go to a meeting and I'll hear something and then I'll talk to sponsees and hear it again. We'll talk about it. Yes, he speaks to me that way also. And that little quiet voice, or now it's getting much, much louder because I'm more connected to it internally, that just knows the right thing to do, That for me is my higher power. Even when I don't listen to it, it knows, right? There's that little voice going, yeah, you don't have to do it. You're right, but you really should. That for me is my higher power.
Can I ask you ladies something? Do you ever feel when we're talking recovery and we're talking spiritual higher power stuff, that your higher power kind of starts speaking through you?
My every time I open my mouth navigating recovery, every time.
Yeah.
I don't pull this trust me.
Yeah.
I don't pull this shit out of me. That
Yeah.
sh when I open my mouth, what you get from me is what my higher power needs me to
Yeah,
say.
me
Yeah.
I
too.
just right. It's so funny. Ash, maybe you've experienced this as well. I'll have sponsees say, like the next, like a week later, like we met, then a week later we meet, and then they'll be like, or afterwards they'll text me like, "What did you say? Like you said this thing. What did you say? Can you?" I'm
Nope.
like, I don't fucking know what I said
I cannot
because
repeat that.
because it right. I truly believe that my higher power is just using me as a vessel for you to hear what you need to hear. That's all it is. And what I need to hear as well, right? The other thing, so I don't know, you guys before the meetings on Thursdays, which plug for the meetings on Thursdays, you can find the link on our website, work at youareworthit.com. It's on Thursdays at 7 Eastern Standard Time. Um, you know that pause that I do before
The
the,
minute of
so,
silence.
yes, that, and I always take a really long time with it.
Yeah.
In that moment, what I'm doing is basically telling higher power, talking to my higher power, saying, whatever you need me to say, I am your vessel. Whatever I am supposed to hear, you're gonna make me hear it. I really honestly turn over every conversation, every interaction. I do it before the podcast. I do it before my meetings, my sponsee meetings. I do it before the regular meeting. Um, I also do it if I'm going in and I need to talk to my boss.
Me too.
Yeah, I do
It's
too.
interesting that you say
Yeah.
that, Dawn, because I like that's exactly what I use my moment of silence for. And
Hmm.
even before my coda sponsees, before a sponsee call or going in with a boss, I do like whatever needs to come is what will come.
Yep. And how freeing is that feeling? Like there's no
It's
pressure. Like,
Well, and the other thing that's
mhm.
really freeing about it is I have to be honest because, like you said, I'm not going to remember next week what I said last week.
mm-mm,
There's been many times that people have said, "Man, that thing you said to me in the meeting or last week, it was so awesome. What was that?" Or even just while I'm talking to people, I
mm.
get excited, I get passionate, and I get talking too fast and I just keep going. And they'll be like, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm writing this down. Repeat that again. And I'm like, oh, crap. I don't
It was
remember the way I said
it was something like this.
it.
It was somewhat like this.
It
It's
just comes out. Like I don't pre-plan like you even the podcast. I don't pre-plan what I'm going to say. I give it to my higher power and I
mhm,
allow what needs to be said to come through.
yep. And I think it's important, in every aspect of our life, no matter what it is, it's just turning it over to our higher power, being able to have a conversation with my higher power, and it just makes everything easier. It makes typically the resentment will be gone, the anger will be gone, the frustration can be gone, the balance is put back into place when I just know that my higher power is there and I rely on him like I would rely on myself.
I really, really could not do that until I sat down with myself and I thought about exactly who I believed my higher power was and what I believed
Hmm.
his characteristics were and that he needed and wanted from me.
But let me ask you this, when you sat down and did that, did it all come at one time, or did it I sat down, I
It's
did
still
this
changing.
there. Okay. Right. I
It's
think that's
still
important.
evolving and changing every single day.
I think that is important, right? It because as the more I learn and the more my higher power shows up and the more times that I don't listen when maybe the way I should and I right with my interact with my higher power, it evolves.
Right. The more I get to know him,
Yeah.
the more I get to know him.
But this goes with me too. The more I get to know me, the more I
Right.
evolve.
Like the more that I um, got to know who I was more authentically than who I was always trying to show up to in the world. Like I have, I kind of feel like there's two people here inside this body. Like there's my spiritual self who's very connected, and then there's like this other person who isn't connected to herself. She's connected to the external world. Um, and she's more egotistical and um she gatekeeps and she defends and she protects. And then there's this other person inside of me who just shows up in the present moment and is just content and just happy to be here. And I find that if I'm living in my like if I'm in my present moment and I'm just taking it as it comes, I feel that I'm more connected to who I'm with. I'm connected to myself. But if I'm like looking at something in a past lens or I'm worrying about the future, I'm not that person. I'm not connected. I'm not connected with my higher power. It's more I'm connected to this person that's more concerned about what's going on outside of herself.
I agree with that. And I think part of our goal is to tie those people
Mm-hmm.
together.
Yeah, it's about
100%.
integration, right? About
Yeah.
integrating all the
I,
parts of yourself into one
mhm.
being or one spiritual being, maybe. I'm not
I think
sure.
it's kind of like the whole this little child, the child in me, my little Dawn,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
In the beginning, I'm sure we'll do a podcast about
It's odd. Yeah.
but because I love this topic, but I think before, right, my little Dawn and adult Dawn were two separate people. Like
And
they
it
were
was
complete.
almost awkward connecting to each other, connecting them
Yes.
to each other.
Yes. And it's very similar with my how my higher power and myself was. It was like it just didn't feel right. It was just like, but then once I realized, oh, wait a minute, Little Dawn is me. I'm Little Dawn. All the adult feelings that I struggle and the triggers and the traumas, that's just my Little Dawn. Well, that means I'm the same person. It's the same person. And I think that's the thing. Little Dawn lives in me because I am Little Dawn as much as I'm Adult Dawn. And my higher power lives in me because I am also part of my higher power.
I really like that, Don.
Hmm.
Like I agree 100%, right? Like that was I had there was always the inner child me, the little terrified little girl. And then there's always that rebel teenager that wants to buck against all authority and all rules. And then there's the adult me.
Hmm.
And then there's also the shadow part of me, like, right? Like the characteristics that don't necessarily want to show to the whole entire world, but I know that they're there and I know they exist, but I don't necessarily want people to see them. And then there's also the higher power, which is also within me, right? I truly believe that I am connected to my higher power from me internally, in the same way, in very much the same way that I'm connected to my inner child, my inner teenager, my shadow self, my spirit self is my higher power.
Hmm. Yeah. So I know we've both all have a very comfortable relationship with our higher power now, and it's grown and continues to grow. But what were some of the things, and we might have, I think we touched a little bit on this last episode, but what are some of the barriers you've struggled with finding that relationship with your higher power?
My first
Well,
one was just awareness. That was
Yeah,
my biggest barrier was being aware that there was a higher power and I needed to like I
same.
needed to connect with it.
Right, same. Exactly the same for me.
I think that I was when I was not living in my higher power. That's when I was probably mostly living in my trauma responses and when I'm and all those years of unconsciousness where I was just my shadow was showing up. I was just living in 100% codependency, like
You
I
were
did not
unaware.
know how
You
to
weren't aware.
be present. Yeah, I had no idea how to be present and I was on robot. It's almost like I had a veil over my face and I was just going through life very blindfolded, having no idea what I was doing. I was just very impulsive.
For me, it was what Ashley said. Probably 90% of it was what Ashley said. And then there was also this piece of it for me that before I had this awareness, my higher power was what society and everything said. What, right? It was God. So
Oh,
this is
there was
God.
that for me too, for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So this is what it should look like. This is the way it is. And I was fighting against that, right? That because that didn't make sense to me. That didn't work for me. But how can this thing, when I look at something, and I'm such a logical person, when I logically look at this, how can this thing that is supposed to be so loving and has created beautiful things and is so powerful and all including inclusive be judgmental of someone that loves someone different than I do um or creates the anger and the hatred out in the world. And I just struggled with that. And then once I was made aware that my higher power could be whatever I needed it to be, that took me, that was like, I'm like, oh, I can do that. Well, now that you can I can like mold it and it can shape because it's very shape shifting. My higher power is very shape shifting. It can shift into what I need. Then, oh, now I'm not so, stay away, stay away. I'm like, now I'm intrigued. Let me try this out. Let me see what it is. Um, And so that awareness of it could be something different than what society and what everything has said it should be and what it should look like. Um,
That was huge for me.
yeah,
Like coming to a belief that my higher power did not have to be who other people told me it was supposed to be. Uh, like that I could believe that my higher power didn't meet one specific religion. That was new. I don't know how I never considered that. I consider myself a very intelligent person, a very open-minded person. And for some reason, I thought I had to follow one, like I had to pick some religion. If I wanted to be a spiritual person, if I wanted to believe in a higher power, I thought I had to pick a religion. And I went to many different religions. I searched
hmm
for a religion that felt right, and I could not find one. I found a few that felt close,
yeah.
but I mean, I spent 20 years looking for a religion that I thought fit my beliefs and felt right to me, and I couldn't find one.
You know what when you said that about how I can't remember exactly what you said, but all I heard was the word brainwashed. And it,
Yes.
right, society has brainwashed us that you have to find a religion and you have
Yep.
to find a God and you have to find a
And this
church.
is the only way you can do it.
Yes. And outside of that, you're doing it wrong.
Yep.
And they want to throw in, says in the Bible that people should gather, come together under one roof. Okay, people, come on. You and the three of us in this moment have come together under a roof. Doesn't have to be one roof. We've come together via the internet that can be a roof and we are connecting and we are having a conversation about something bigger than ourselves. To me, this is church. Church can be, doesn't have to be so I get up and I put on my best dress clothes, my Sunday
Right.
attire, and I go to church and I pretend I'm something I'm not for an hour a week. And then I come home and I'm like, okay, babe, I'm gonna go watch football and drink beer. And I don't think
But
of,
for some people, that is their church, and they do get what they need out of that
they do.
too, you know? It's just like it's so personal.
It is.
It's so
Right. I'm not,
personal.
then definitely not faulting how people interact with their higher power and
Hmm.
what they find filling that fulfills them. This is just right. That's about me. That is
It can
something
be anything that works for whoever the right for me, for you, for them, for him, for her, for they, for any it can be a higher power. In my opinion, the key to a higher power is that my higher power works for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
F Find that center light. That center light that can guide you and you can move toward to be to me that's just look for that. If you're
But
looking for that and you're trying to find that and you're moving towards it, then you're doing it.
Yes, that was and that was for me the most important thing was becoming aware that one, I have a higher power, and that higher power is whoever I believe him to be.
Hmm.
hmm
And who I believe my power to be right now is very, very different than who I believed him to be 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And frankly, is probably very different than who I will believe him to be 30 years from now.
Yeah,
It's
agreed.
changing because I'm changing.
it will evolve with you.
Right.
Hmm.
So what are some of the ways that we've kind of touched on this, but that you experience your higher power?
Um, I do mine very, I'm very intentional with my interactions with my higher power. Um, one of the ways that I do it is through prayer and meditation. So usually I'll start with prayer where and I just say prayer, but it's talking. So I'll just talk, and sometimes I'm looking for wisdom. Sometimes I'm venting. Sometimes I am just communicating what's on my heart. And then I go very quiet and I listen or I look. I just become aware of things like maybe the way that I'm asking a question and the way that the wind just whips through the trees and the leaves are really rustling. I'm like, oh, okay. And that is telling something that's very telling for me. Other people might watch me and go, she's loopy, but it makes sense to me and it's usually right. So I like for myself, it's very intuitive, it's very inward, and it's daily. I have to communicate with my higher power. It's more than daily. Most of the days I'm spent talking with my higher power in my head. So that's how I communicate. It has, and I also use my higher power to I as a who I am as a person, I am extremely rough on myself. So my higher power can come in and it makes me see things from such a different level. From it's almost like, huh, so this had to happen. Oh, this needed to happen. It had to be this painful. So this will happen. And it's like connecting the dots of what I'm doing here on this journey. And there's other things I do too. Like I do read tarot. So I do read tarot. So I do communicate kind of on a spiritual level with my higher power through cards and I can ask the cards questions and it's like the cards are a vessel and they talk back to me. And they kind of guide my way through this experience of life with my like life now And it's a tool. It's a tool I can use to communicate with my higher power. Um, I also believe in, I'm going on and on here. I'm taking up most of the time, but I can go on about this all day. I also believe in synchronicities and signs. So sometimes, like I know, like I said earlier, the wind going through the trees, or I could tell you a story, but I'll stop now because I can, like I said, I have stories and stories and stories about how my higher power has shown itself to me in so many ways.
Well, I think the
But
stories are important, and I would love to hear the
you
story
want
you
to
were
hear
just.
one?
I would love
Okay.
to hear the story you were just going to tell.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. So, um, I was in a I was on my front stoop and I do a lot of things underneath the moon. And I was going, and it was a full moon that night. And I was working with one of the deities I work with. And one of her symbolisms that,
I
uh,
need you to pause for 1 second. Sorry.
mhm.
Explain to those of us that don't understand what a deity is. Explain what you
A
mean when you
deity
say
is from it's goddesses and it's goddesses and gods. So I
okay,
don't just
perfect.
so I believe in the energy of specific a goddess I was working with that night. It was a goddess. I was working with a goddess that night and her energy and what she represents. And I was on the front my front stoop and I was under the full moon and I had and one of her symbols are dogs, keys, dogs. She has a lot of symbols that represent her. So I was in a deep meditation and I open up my eyes, and sitting right in front of me is this hound, a dog, came out of nowhere. And then I just went, and then I said the deity's name and I closed my eyes and I blinked and the dog was gone. And I was like, what the heck just happened? And it was really very, there was no word for it. I said, okay, this didn't happen. I was imagining things. And then I went on my ring cam and it happened and the dog appeared and then it just left like a mist. It was so strange. But I felt such a connection to in that moment to the spirit I was working, like my spirit realm. And it was a confirmation to me on what I was talking to spirit with, and that's how it showed up. And I have shown many people this video, and they just they shake their head and go, "Wow, I can't!" Like you have to see it to believe it.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it 100%.
Yeah, when I work with spirit, sometimes it's magical. It's magic.
So I believe one of the most important things for me in order to have communication with my higher power is the willingness to hear it and see it and believe it.
Yeah,
For a long time, I thought a higher power had to be a specific type of way, and it was a specific kind of being. And because I was not open to that being, my higher power was completely silent. As soon as I realized I could believe whatever I needed to believe, and whatever I needed to believe, my higher power could have whatever characteristics I needed to believe that it had. Um, I I became willing to see signs. I became
Yeah.
willing to hear the signs.
yeah.
Um, there was this moment I didn't I was on my bathroom floor. I was on the verge of just giving up, just completely and totally giving up. I did not feel as though I could handle one more thing, and I foresaw all of the one more things that were coming, and I was just done. I just did not have one more day in me. I was a mess. I was ugly, crying, sobbing, snot, cough, the whole 9 yards. laying on the bathroom floor at 2 in the morning. I'd finally just wore myself completely out. No alcohol involved, no drugs involved. It wasn't anything like that. It was just emotions. And I was just done. And there was this voice. It wasn't my voice, it wasn't me, but it was just this voice that said, "You can do this, and I've got you." And I almost didn't believe it. At first, I was like, wait, what? Who the fuck? Where did that come from? Who is that? No, I can't do it. I'm done doing it. Who's got me? Nobody's got. Like, I argued with that internal voice, and it didn't argue back. It said, you don't have to believe me if you don't want to. But if you want to take the chance and believe me, you're okay. I've got you. We can do this together.
I believe that my higher power led me to work it. You were worth it, like 100%. When I was searching for something, because I knew I had the higher power. I had already started a relationship with my higher power by the time that I had found work it, you were worth it. But there were things within, outside of my spiritual self. I had conditioning, human conditioning that needed help. I couldn't do it on my own. And I was just in a state, as you mentioned yourself, Ashley, like pretty down and out. And I was asking for something. And then I found the podcast. And then that led me to you guys, which led me going to these meetings, which led me to dealing with my very humanness, my defects of character, the way that my human shows up, not my spiritual self, but my human shows up in human situations and how I wasn't getting on in my life. And it led me to you guys and filled such a void in my soul that it was looking for, if I can improve who I am as an everyday human, it's like it's allowing spirit to come out in me and feel comfortable because I'm not so worried anymore about what's going on outside of me. Now I'm more concerned about what's going on inside of me. And that's through the help of you guys. Like you guys have shown me the importance of how self, the importance of self will lead. It's like led me even to a more closer relationship with my higher power.
Yeah, very much. Very, very much. Your relationship with yourself is extraordinarily important. Because if I don't have a relationship with myself, then I can't have a relationship with a higher power.
Mm.
Because the right, my higher power speaks to me through myself. There's no external voice that comes in and says, you do this, you do that, right? Like even Mel, you were talking about tarot and using the cards. It's still my interpretation of what those cards are saying.
Yeah, it's still your higher self that's,
Everything
yeah.
comes from myself. So
Hmm.
if I refuse to listen to myself internally, and I refuse to be aware of myself, and I refuse to have a relationship with myself, then I can't hear my higher power.
Yeah.
Hmm.
S-
Another way that I can connect to is through writing, and that creative flow that happens when I'm writing or journaling. That's sometimes higher power will take over there too. And I'll write and then I'll read back what I wrote and I'll be like, holy cow, that came out of me. Where did that come from?
So I'm going to take space. Mel, I thought of this when you said, when you started to apologize for yourself taking up space
Okay.
when you were talking. You don't need not need to apologize to take up space,
Oh, thank you.
especially in this space.
Okay.
Right? You 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 get space. You get space. And so I'm going to take space.
Okay.
And I know Ashley is very familiar with this story because it literally is my story with um how recovery went, my relationship with my higher power, my This is higher power and recovery for me. Getting rid of fear, rid- finding my self-will, finding my the ability to let go of control. Um, so this would have been this would happen to me about shit. God, man, it seems like COVID was just last year. Um, so this happened 5 years ago. It was in the kind of the midst of COVID when I started traveling by myself. I started going back up and down from Florida to Indiana to see my family. And I decided for the first time I was going to take a, it was the first time ever that I was going to take a a side trip and go on my own trip. Like I was going to do um, just a self trip. So I decided I was going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I've always wanted to be there or go there. And so, right, I would love the Smoky Mountains. I think they're beautiful and wanted to do this. And I had I had plans of what I wanted to do. And one of them was I wanted to um, horseback ride up into the Smoky Mountains. So I did that. And then after I came down, I was hungry. It's, the pancake place to go there. Um, so I went and I sat and I got sat by a window and I'm sitting there and I'm looking out and I'm like, what's that? And I noticed this ski slope, those like, the ski lifts things. They
Yeah,
were
the little
bright.
chairs that you sit in.
Yeah, yeah, they were bright yellow and I'm like, what's that? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know what that is. But there was, and I am, so to preface this in advance, I am scared of heights. I'm scared of heights. Um, I can fly because I can't see outside. But if I can see outside, I am afraid of heights. And I'm afraid to get on a ladder. I mean, I'll get there, get on it, but I start getting the uhs. And I was very intrigued by the ski lifts. And I couldn't put my finger on it, right? It was very intrigued. And I'm like, I want to go check that out. I want to go see what that is. So I went up and I was like, okay, and this is a whole process, right? I'm gonna do all this overwhelming feelings in my head, right? I get over there, it's a ski lift. I know a ski lift is crazy scary because you're really not strapped in, and you're like, it's a whole thing. But there was just something that was drawing me in it, and I was like, I can do this. So I was like, okay, I'll just go up to the top and see what's going on. So I got on the ski lift. I was on the ski lift by myself, and I'm just going up this mountain. And I get to the top, and I'm not going to lie and say I wasn't scared, and I barely moved, and it was a whole like gripping white knuckle type situation. But I get to the top, and then there's all these stairs, and I'm winding around. There's a shop, whatever, and I see all these people kind of going up further, and I'm like, what's up there? So I'm like, let me go be nosy. Let me go see what's up there. Well, there's a suspension bridge, and I was like, well, that's cool. But I was scared to death. And I was like, but I want to do it. I want to I want to go. I want to see what everybody's seeing over there. So I I decide I'm going to do this, and I was that person that's standing there. You're like, okay, person, move. Either move, go, or move. Go or move. Well, that was me. I was the not the person telling somebody to go or move. I was the person that was standing there frozen. People are going around me and like just like right and left. And so the suspension bridge is one side goes like it's one bridge, but one like it's like a street. One direct side's going one direction, the other side's coming the other direction, and it was probably 3 feet wide, maybe. Yeah, probably about 3 feet wide, 4 feet at the most. Yeah, some I don't know, maybe whatever. But anyways, so I decide to step forward and I get on this bridge. And again, just note, I was scared to death. And I get on and I'm starting to walk. But as you get to the middle, closer to the middle, I mean, I wasn't even probably an eighth of the way out. it starts bouncing and it starts rocking. And the only thing on next to you is like there's ropes and there's like this little fence, right? You can easily fall over, easily. And I just kept having to stop. I remember that. I just would go and I would stop. And I would go and I would stop. And the further in I got, I noticed that I kept like I didn't know, but like I just couldn't. I was like I could I did kept thinking I can't do this. I can't go on. I'm so scared. Um like what I was scared of, I like it just God, I all I think about it, it was represents my entire life. This for me, this bridge and these feelings and the route I was taking was just my whole life. I was scared of everything and I but instead of stepping forward, I would turn around and I would quit. Right? And I would go back and or I would take the safer route. And in this moment, like I had so many, I had choices, and I think I did a 180 probably 3 times on that bridge. And I was again, I wasn't even halfway. I wasn't even close to halfway. And then, and I can't even tell you guys if this is real or not, but I do very much feel it was real. I At this point when I was ready to just call it done and go back, here comes this little old couple with their dog. I mean, they were probably 85 and they had their little dog. It was a little dog. And the dog is walking on the bridge. These old people are walking on their bridge. And in that moment, I was like, what the fuck? Why here you have these people that I'm supposed to be in better shape and a better position and a better right? I just from being the fact that I'm probably 40 years younger than they are. And there's a dog and they're all doing it. What am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? And in that moment, I believe that was my higher power. Clearly, again, I say my higher power is very sarcastic, is very not right. He's like, okay, let me show you old people and a dog can do this because and show you like, come on, girl, get to it. What are you doing? And so I decided I was going to keep on. I'm scared. Nobody since case say I wasn't scared. I was scared to death. I get to the middle and there are 4 glass panels. So now I have to walk over these glass panels. And again, I stood there.
I
I
just want
s-
to jump in for 1 second,
yeah,
Dawn. I'm sorry. I know this is your story, but I've
it's
been to
fine.
this place specifically because of your story. I went to this place. When you say it's a bridge, this is a bridge from mountaintop to mountaintop. You are several hundred feet in the air. It is a suspension rope bridge with glass panels for about, I don't know, 6 feet. You can't step over the glass panels. You can't not see the glass panels. And when you're at the top of this bridge on these said glass panels, you are, I mean, you got to be a couple hundred feet in the air.
Oh yeah, easy.
And you can look, you can see that you are a couple hundred feet in the air. Sorry, keep going.
Nope, you're good. Um, Adding to my like my story here, like because I'm just over here and thinking about the fear of it all. And it was very good point. Like what you're saying is right. Like these are the factors in this that make this even harder for me, being scared of heights and struggling with this. And I, I at many times was like, I don't need to get to the other side. I can't. But there was something I knew was on that other side that I had to get to. I had to see it. I don't know what it was, but it was there. And I kept thinking, I want to see that. I want to be over there. It was kind of like that whole cool, oh, there's the cool kids. I want to be with the cool kids. Or I want to be with whatever's over there. Because everybody was gathering and I'm like, I got to do this. So I get to the glass and I did not look down. I was the first to cross it. I did not look down. I just walked as fast as I could across it. And as soon as I got across it, I just stopped. And like, okay, I made it. At that point, I'm over halfway. So I continue on and I get across the bridge. And I think what I want to say about the process of getting across the bridge, right, is very much it's the epitome of my recovery. This is hard. Let me turn around. Let me stop. Let me turn back around because wait a minute. No, that what I see back there isn't as cool as what I see up there. So let me turn back around and let me keep moving and let me turn around. And I know that relationship. I see that relationship. I saw that relationship of what recovery was for me in that journey. So once I get across, that's when I saw the true beauty of the Smoky Mountains. You look out and you see the smoke, the smoky part of it. You could see the whole entire town. The air was different. The landscape was just, it was unbelievable where I felt so high in the air, but there was so many things so much higher than me. And I just stood there. And in that moment right there, my fear for life left. My fear of what my higher power was gone. In that moment, I found me. I found that Dawn so deep inside that has a love for life and adventure and experiences. And that moment changed the entire trajectory of my life. Can't stay on the other side of the bridge for long. You have to eventually go back across the bridge because there's no other way down. And I walked on that bridge and I crossed the bridge. I get to the glass panels. Not going to say I wasn't scared, right? Fear is a very healthy feeling. And right, there was fear. And I get to the glass panels and I stop, middle of the glass panels, and I look down. And I look down. I took it in and I celebrated me. I celebrated my success. I celebrated how far I had come um, in probably an hour because that's how long it probably took me to get across. Um, whew, I took that moment and then I continued across. And I will say, when I got to the other side, I was a different person. And never in a million years would I have expected that going across the suspension bridge and coming back across the suspension bridge would have changed who I am almost to the core. Um, I was so proud of myself. I was, fear was so much smaller. Higher power was so much bigger. I was so much bigger. My whole attitude just changed that after that. And what's funny is that happened in October, and I started work at You Are Worth It started the process in January of that year. And then next year, that moment changed my life. It changed owning my recovery because for me in that moment, what I went through, what I went to that journey across the bridge, like I said, was my recovery. It's the epitome of my recovery. Scared, turn around, scared, turn around, scared, turn around. But I didn't go backwards. Doesn't matter that I turned around 20 times in a circle to get across. Doesn't matter. I just kept moving forward. And then when I came back, and now I'm coming back into all the stuff that was in my past, now it's not as scary. Now I can face it. And so for me, because that represents so much of my recovery and life, that moment I knew there was a higher power because he showed me, here I am. And I've not questioned it since.
That is a remarkable story. Wow. Um, fear is such a hard thing to face. And you're a testament to facing it with your higher power. It really, the feeling that you had after, the pride, the relief, the, that it's, that profoundness that you actually did it. You faced your largest fear. And I just, there's no other feeling like that. And I believe it's those moments that bring us so close to our higher power, or when our higher power does come through with us, when we've been manifesting, when we've been praying so hard for something, and you don't, like, there are times I don't understand how something happens, but I know it had nothing to do with me.
Hmm.
It was another realm that was taking care of this for me. And just knowing this now, it takes so much worry out of my life.
Yeah.
It really does. I
All
don't have
that
to,
said, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
No,
I
go
was just
ahead.
going to make a, I said, I was going to say all that, with all that awareness and demolishing of fear, it still doesn't mean I want to skydive. No.
I've always said, and I think it's so important to say, courage is not the absence of fear. It's simply the decision to move forward with the fear,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right? And so many people are like, oh, I don't want to be afraid. I don't, being afraid is, it's natural, it's
Right?
normal. It is a, fear is actually a physiological condition much more than an emotional one. Yes, we feel afraid, but when you think about what is fear, it is your body physically reacting to something that may or may not be a danger, right? Your heart
Hmm.
picks up, your hands start to sweat, you maybe hearing becomes more increased, maybe your
Right.
pupils dilate. That's all a physical reaction to something that I may, I mean, I may not even know what it's a reaction to, right? Being high, a fear of heights is my body telling me that, holy shit, I could die when I fall. And
Hmm.
hello, I could die when I fall. It's not an unreasonable thing, right?
But when I don't do it alone,
Mm-hmm.
right? When I don't, when I do something that it might be a little scary, when I don't do it alone, when I have my higher power and I take my higher power along with me, and he's always with me, right? He lives within me. But the difference is when I take him along, that means I'm aware he is within me and we are going hand in hand. In that moment, I'm popping him out in a way. We're clasping hands and we're navigating it together. And then that's when the fear is almost gone. It's right, it might still be there, but it's so much more tolerable because now I'm consciously doing it with my higher power because I'm not alone.
Sounds like courage to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just now hitting me as you're saying that, Dawn, right? Like, I'm almost wondering if any moment that I choose to go forward with faith, right? When I'm
Hmm.
afraid of something and I choose to go forward, like we were talking about, I think we were recording when we were talking about before the podcast or before the meeting, we have that moment of silence
Yeah.
and we pause.
Hmm.
In that moment, it's not fear, but maybe before I go into that meeting with my boss, there's some fear.
Yep.
Or maybe before I go to purchase this new house or to interview for this new job or whatever the situation, there's fear there. And I take that moment to have faith and in awareness, have courage, bring my higher power with me, choose to move forward through that fear. That's courage. That's having my
Hmm.
higher power. That's awareness. That's what makes growth, right? That's what creates change, is
Hmm.
choosing to move forward and bringing that awareness with me.
So here's another little quick story. This one's a little quicker. So, I know, you know that I was very much into meetup. I did a lot of camping and kayaking. I met a person. That person moved away. And so now, and that was still at a point in my life where I thought you could have one friend, and this friend had to be everything. And she moved away. Well, now I'm back in where it's like I don't really have anything, and I was trying to navigate life. And I decided I was going to go to a meetup that, and it was a dinner meetup. So right now I have to sit here with people I don't know and have a conversation. That can be tough shit, right? That's tough. It's going to be really hard, especially when I don't think I bring anything to the table, or I question what I bring to the table. Am I likable? Am I these things? And so but I was like, I had no using a tool. I was talking to someone, talking to a couple people. It might even been, actually, I think you were one of them, saying, I am going to this meetup. Like, right, I put it up, put it out in the air. I
You
set it
put
to
it out
some.
in the podcast.
I did.
You
That's
did. You put it out
right.
on the podcast. Like, okay, guys, I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm putting it out to the
That's
universe. I
right.
have this meetup and I need to go.
Yes, you were right. I did, didn't I? I did. I had to hold myself accountable because I also know that I can, right? I can talk myself out of something because it's scary. And this is a different kind of scary, right? The other one, like Ashley noted, right? It's up high, I can fall, I can die. Well, I'm gonna go to this meetup. If I go and I sit with people I don't know, that's scary, right?
They
That's
might
scary.
not like me.
Right? But I'm not going to die. So, like, it's a different fear, a different feeling of what could happen, but it's still scary. So, anyways, I got there and I sat in my car because I was still scared and like I could still go home. I could still go home, right? But I was like, nope, I'm here. So I sat in the car. I sat in the car probably about, I don't know, 3, 4 minutes. And I had a conversation with higher power. And I asked him to give me what I need in this moment. Know that this is just one evening. I don't have to go back if I don't connect with anyone or hit it off, right? And this wasn't a, was not going in this as from a romantic perspective. I was going in this as I want to just meet people. I want to find people to do things with. So the group was supposed to be, let me tell you this, the group was supposed to be 30 people. Which us obviously can add, you get that many people. Yes, you can blend in, but yet then also adds a little bit of stress. So, anyways, I got there, talked to my higher power. I went in, and there was only one person there, the person that set it up. I'm like, oh, and I was right on time because, right, my fear is I don't want to be too early and I don't want to be too late. So I have to be there right on time. Was one person. It was the person in the group. I sat down. I'm like, oh, where are everybody? Oh, I said, where, oh, is everybody here? Where, and because there's a bunch of people in this place. And she's like, no, I'm the only one here, but they should be coming. I've reached out. I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting, I talk to her and we have a great little one-on-one conversation. And then probably, I don't know, it was 20, 30 minutes in, and this other woman walks in. She sits down. So the three of us have this great, amazing, we talk, work things in common, everything is great. And we had it hit it off, and the one person's like, I want to watch the Super Bowl tomorrow. And we're like, let's get together. So next day we get together and we watch the Super Bowl. The lead group, the person that set up the meetup, after months fell away. And the other person is now my best friend. Like, right, we're sisters. This is the person I spend almost every weekend with, doing things with. The person I talk to, the person, right? I have so many friends because of this person. Like, we picked up people along the way. Again, challenging the fear, challenging my thoughts of fear, and having a conversation and taking my higher power along with me, walking in there hand in hand with my higher power, knowing that it doesn't matter what the outcome is, because when I leave, I will be fine because he's got me, I've got me, or whatever comes out of it, and I end up making amazing new friends that I have now spent the last 3, 4 years with, traveling, doing things, experiencing life. Could go two ways. I luckily got the good side of it, but I don't couldn't have gotten that good side if I wouldn't have trusted my higher power and put myself out there. So when I say
Yeah.
my higher power is working, he works. He just, and he does it. It's when I let him work, he works. He does exactly what I need him to do.
That's
Exactly what you said. We have to allow it. We have
and
to
th-
allow
that's
it to work.
that's the other side of this that I just want to mention too before we finish up is for me at least, if I don't allow my higher power to come in, he is not going to push his way in. He's not going to force me to hear him. He's not going to force me to listen to him. And he's not going anywhere. My higher power will stay right there, continuously repeating himself over and
Hmm.
over and over until I choose to listen. Now, there's sometimes where, right, he'll get louder and louder and the lesson might get more and more, right? Like, say, I don't know, let's just say I need to find a new job. And I don't, let me preface this by saying I don't. If anyone at work is listening, I love my job. I'm not looking for a new job. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that I need to find a new job and I don't want to. I don't want to go out and interview. I don't want to put the energy into looking for a job. Like, no, I'm not happy at my job, but I really just don't want to go out and look for a new job. My higher power is the type of higher power that is going to point out like somebody's going to talk crap about me in the corner and my higher power is going to make me aware of that, or I'm going to not be successful and my higher power is going to make me aware of that. And then if I still don't listen, maybe I'll be successful, but nobody appreciates it. My higher power will make me like the intentional, the issue that the higher power makes in order to help me be aware. If I am refusing to see it, it will get louder, right? He will make it more and
Yeah.
more aware. And at the same time, he's not bringing any issue that I don't need in growth into my life, right? Like if I need to become more patient, he's going to give me annoying situations to deal with in order for me to become more patient. But that's not because he thinks it's funny, it's because I need more patience. And at the same time, if I refuse to be patient in those situations, there is never a time that my higher power is going to get sick and tired of me being impatient and
Hmm.
just go away. Like that for me was so, so
Yeah.
important.
One of the things that I also would like to say with when it comes to higher power is be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. Again,
Make
my
sure
higher
you're
power.
ready.
But yeah, I had so one of my sponsees used to ask, she said I prayed for patience. And she's like, then some she would like be waiting to hear about something and it would take forever. And I'm like, well, you asked for patience. So he's teaching you patience. Were you clear and concise in what you were asking? Right? Be when we just like when we talk to each other, we need to be clear and concise when talking to our higher power, right? It's a conversation, it's asking and trusting he's going to give you what you need and be willing and open to what he gives you. And it might not be the way it looks might not be the way we want to see it, or it's not what we thought it should be. But I think there's a reason it's the way it is. There is a reason it's the way it is. And just remember to be clear and concise. I want to learn patience with the ones I love. I want to I want to experience the world in, I'm trying to think of another example. Um, I don't know. I can't think of anything right now. It's just really being clear and concise, making sure you're asking what you need in
I think
the,
it's
go ahead.
I think it's too like I get like being making sure you know what you're asking for and that you are prepared to learn the lessons for what you're asking for, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like if I want patience, obviously I know I'm being impatient and I need to learn patience. And I need to be aware of when I ask for patience that the only way to learn patience is to have to be patient,
Patient. Hmm.
to work through being impatient, to sit around impatiently and handle that impatience in a positive manner. That's all being patient is knowing how to handle waiting. So instead of pacing back and forth and getting angry and frustrated and jumping up and down and screaming and yelling and bothering people, then I just sit down and watch a show while I wait. Or you know what I mean? Like part of asking for what we want is being aware that sometimes to get what we want, we have to go through things we don't like.
We have to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
So we've talked the last couple of weeks very much about higher power. Um, I feel like we have covered a lot of areas with that, especially for how our higher powers were to us, how they are now, how they evolved, how we got, how we experience our higher power. What are ways going forward that we can continue to develop our relationship with our higher power?
A daily practice.
I was going to say, the very first and most important, in my opinion, is a daily conversation with my higher power.
So that conversation, what can it look like? And I
Anything you
agree.
want it to.
Agreed.
That's
I,
personal
right? Like in
decision how you do
my
that.
opinion, and it's not even a consistent same every day. Like there's some days that my conversation with my higher power looks like me walking around outside throwing rocks, yelling, cursing, and venting and crying. And sometimes somebody would look at it and be like, holy crap, that girl's crazy as hell. What is wrong with her? Other days, it looks like driving in the car, having a
Yep.
conversation out loud. Other days, it looks like going on the river in my boat and going up the river. Um, Other days, it looks like being on my knees with my hands in the pyramid shape praying. It
Mhm.
it it really just depends on the day, the moment, the situation, and how I feel. And I think that is the most important aspect of maintaining a relationship with my higher power is a daily conversation, an intentional, mindful daily conversation.
It's keeping him forefront, keeping my higher power forefront in my life through what you both agreed, like, right? It's daily. It has to be daily. And not even daily. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. For me, it happens like 20 times a day. Um, but it means the first place I go when I am feeling anything is I go to my higher power. But that took a lot of practice and a lot of like, well, fuck, this isn't working for me, so let me just try this. And it's right, it's been successful, but it's daily, it's constant. When I need to balance, when I need to regulate myself, I need to find balance. It's going to my higher power and asking and having a conversation. I don't journal. I'm not a journaler, so I don't believe the only way to communicate with your higher power is journaling. Um, I Ashley said it. It could look like a variety of different things, and it's all okay. So,
I agree.
yeah,
I agree with all of that.
yeah.
I think
So
one of the most important things that a lot of us forget is falling back on our higher power, right? Like, I don't need to just communicate with my higher power when I'm thanking him and I am being grateful and I'm in a good mood or, I really, it's falling back on my higher power and intentionally thinking, right? It has to be both. If I don't have that hey, look, I'm noticing these good things and I'm thankful for these good things and I appreciate all these things and I want to learn this stuff, then I won't have a conversation. And at the same time, if I don't have that, this happened and this happened and this happened, and why the hell would that happen? And why are you letting this happen? And I'm so frustrated by that. Like, it has to be both. Because if I don't have both, then I don't have trust.
Mm.
Well, it's like a relationship anyways. In like a human relationship, it's the very same thing with your higher power. It takes communication. It takes patience. It takes
Time.
time. And it takes time to evolve, especially if you're new to this concept. It takes discovery, it takes curiosity. Um,
And it
it's
doesn't
just
matter
like
if you're
developing any relationship.
And it
But,
doesn't matter if you're new
or,
or have been doing this
yeah,
for 7 years
7
or
years.
20 years.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You've it's the same for it, it's the same across all the time frames. It has to
Hmm.
be.
Such a great conversation today,
Yes.
guys. I've so enjoyed this.
Me too. So we have talked the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks about, or 4 or 5 episodes about um, awareness, higher awareness. So we talked about self-awareness with our, like awareness with a higher power. We've talked about just having awareness overall with ourself and what that looks like. Just to be able to get into this place of how do we go about applying awareness. And so in the next, who knows how many episodes, we are going to get into what that means to apply the awareness. How do we use tools to get there, to figure that out, to navigate it, so we can get to the point where we're living awareness on a daily basis and it becomes a little bit more automated. It becomes easier. It becomes just a natural part of our lives. So yeah, upcoming, applying awareness and what that looks like.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, guys. It's been such a good conversation.
It has. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a great Sunday and a great week.
Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
We would like to thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. Visit the Work It website at workityourworthit.com to submit your questions and topics for future episodes. And remember, work it because you are worth it.